Chapter 12. Chapter 12. Government objectives and policies. When we're talking about government objectives, basically we're talking about what government wants to achieve over over a period of time. That is what government objective is. So it's
What they
called
would do for,
what they wanna
for
achieve.
the residents.
For the people. Government spending. So, yeah, one of the roles of most government is to provide a range of public services. This might include healthcare, education, defense, care for the elderly, child protection, policing, refuse collection, a judicial system, and transport network. The amount of money spent by government on these services will vary enormously. For example, in less developed countries, government will tend to spend less because they are relatively poor. Sweden, however, has a reputation for very high levels of government spending. So, for government to be able to achieve its objective, government has to spend. That is the point. Government has to spend to achieve its objective. So, government will spend on education, government will spend on healthcare, government will spend on policing, government will spend on judicial system. So, whatever it is that government has to spend on, it's because of the objective that they have to achieve. Did you get the point here? So, how much more government spend will depend on the kind of country we're talking about here. Poor countries will have their government spend less. Developed countries, rich countries will have their government spending more. Is it clear? So we scroll down, please.
Spending on the importance.
Yeah, we scroll down, please. Government spending levels will influence businesses. Generally, high levels of spending will be welcomed by businesses. However, it often depends where the money is spent. For example, if a government decides to build a new motorway, businesses in the construction industry are likely to benefit the most. Spending on infrastructure is discussed below. Government will spend. So, the level of government spending can also influence businesses. Because like the main example of government trying to construct motorways. So if government is trying to construct motorway, construction companies will benefit more in this. So whatever government is spending on, those businesses that are in that industry will benefit more. Is it clear? If government wants to build more schools, those in the educational sector will benefit more. Students will benefit more. That is the point they are making. Is it clear?
Clear.
So we go to taxation. The money raised from taxation is used by government to help fund its spending on public services. Businesses and individuals pay taxes. Some taxes are direct, which means they are charged on income. Example includes income tax, which is paid on personal income, and corporation tax, which is paid on company's profit. Some taxes are indirect, which means they are levied on spending. We call it VAT, which is paid when buying goods or services is one. Governments may change levels of government spending and taxation to influence total demand in the economy. This is called fiscal policy and is likely to have an impact on businesses. Below are some examples. So, I'm going to explain taxation here, direct taxes, indirect taxes, and what fiscal policy is. Are you with me?
Yes.
So for direct taxes, these are taxes that are levied on income or profit or on wealth or inheritance. So that if you are paying government from whatever you earn, that is a direct tax. So paying government taxes through your salary, that's an income tax. As a business, you make profit, you pay taxes to government, that is corporation tax. It's a direct tax too. You get it? But indirect taxes are taxes that are paid based on your consumption. So whenever you buy something, you pay taxes on that. It is an indirect tax. It's a value-added tax. Is it clear?
So if I buy something,
for your consumption,
for
any consumption that you do, and you pay taxes on it, it's an indirect tax. Indirect.
So if I buy a good, then it will add to my tax.
You pay taxes for those things you buy. Like my tickets when I was traveling, I have to pay VAT on it. So that is an indirect tax.
That's an indirect tax.
But taxes I pay from my salary is a direct tax. Taxes businesses pay for the profits they make is a direct tax. Is it clear? Is it clear, please?
Yes.
Then governments have to influence the demand within the economy. If government wants to increase demand, there's a way to do it. If government wants to reduce demand, there's a way to do it. That is what we call fiscal policy. The use of taxation and subsidy or government spending to influence the economy. So if government wants to increase demand for goods and services, government will spend. And if government is spending, prices become cheaper. Then people can afford goods and services, demand will increase. But if government felt that, there's inflation within the economy, demand is increasing in the economy, bringing about inflation, government would increase taxes So paying more taxes reduces your spending. Is it clear? Is it clear, please?
Yeah.
So this
So
is what we
if I
call
pay more tax, I will
you spend less.
more. Yeah, less.
And if government is spending, you buy more. So government use fiscal policy to decide that. So if government wants to influence the economy in terms of demand, government will use fiscal policy, which is the use of taxes or subsidy of government spending to influence the economy. Is it clear?
Clear.
Any question about that?
No.
So we go to constraint on public spending. Scroll down, please. Constraint on public spending. In recent years, some governments have tried to constrain level of public spending. One reason for this was because some countries built up massive debts as a result of the financial crisis in 2008. The effect on businesses of such constraint can be severe. Some examples are below. Constraint on public spending. Government wants to reduce their spending. So why is government reducing spending? Government might reduce spending because government has a lot of debt to pay. So these are what are the impacts? Public sector organizations that supply services.
What do you mean that?
Debts, like they are owing other countries. They have a lot of things.
Wait,
they have a lot of money to pay out.
So a country pays for other countries.
They might have borrowed from IMF, the World Bank. A country might have borrowed a lot of money from other countries that it has to pay. So these are debts.
Yeah.
Some countries would have, requested services from other countries on credit. Do you get it?
Yes.
So public sector organizations that supply services directly may get their funding cut. Ways in which government can constrain spending or reduce spending is to cut spending on services. That's the first point. 2, private sector businesses that rely on public sector contracts for part or all of their businesses will be hit. So government might stop private sector businesses that they do give contracts to because they want to reduce spending. So this affects private businesses there. Cuts in pension and other government payments. There's what we call social security payments, like unemployment benefits, child care benefits, and the rest. Government might cut it to reduce spending. Is it clear? Is it clear, please?
So a government might cut some.
If government wants to reduce spending due to constraints, maybe due to much debt, they can stop public funding. They might stop giving out contracts to private individuals.
They will spend less.
Yeah, that would make them spend less. Is it clear? How can governments affect business activity? The government can affect business activity in numbers of ways. 1, it can change the law. Are you there?
Yeah, it can change the law.
Yes, government can make laws. If
Yeah,
government
regulations.
Regulations, thank you. So with regulations, government can influence. So if the government wants to attract foreign investors, they will reduce laws. If government wants to increase or whatever government wants to do, they can do it. So, influence the rate of interest and exchange rate in the economy. It is duty of government. Interest rate is the price of borrowing and saving. So government can also use that. Government can also influence that.
Yes.
So government decides, the central bank of Libya decides the interest rate. And for exchange rate, also the government of Libya can decide that. And this affects business activity. Like I told you, if the interest rate is for interest rate, if the interest rate is increasing, the price of borrowing becomes expensive. Businesses will not be able to borrow, and that might reduce their investment. If the exchange rate is increasing, if the exchange rate is rising, exporters will find it difficult to sell. Do you get it? Importers will be better off. So these are ways in which government affect business activity. Is it clear? Is it clear, please?
Yes.
Change levels of government expenditure and taxation. This is through fiscal policy. We talked about it. So government can influence, government can spend more if government wants to increase demand. If government wants to reduce demand, government will spend less or increase taxation. Is it clear? Introduce policies that have a direct impact on business, such as giving subsidies to farmers. So if government wants to encourage farmers, government might give them subsidies, grants, loans, soft loans to encourage farmers.
The government will give
the farmers
money
so that they can produce more crops. Is it clear?
Yes.
We move on. Infrastructure provision. When we talk about infrastructure, we're talking about, they say in most countries, the government is responsible for developing and maintaining the nation's key infrastructure. This includes building schools, hospitals, roads, bridges, dams, railway stations, systems, power generators, and government offices. So another government spending is on infrastructure. It is
buildings,
buildings, hospitals, schools. These are things that develops the economy.
makes sense.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
government spends on those things too. So if government objective is to develop the economy or the country, they have to invest on infrastructure. They have to spend on infrastructure. Is it clear?
Yes.
Legislation. These are laws that governments make. So it's important for government to make laws too. Without government intervention, some businesses may not meet the need for certain stakeholders. Some might go further and exploit vulnerable stakeholders. One of the roles of government is to provide a legal framework in which businesses can operate and ensure that vulnerable groups are protected. It is the responsibility of government to protect stakeholders. You know, without laws, businesses will do whatever they like. They exploit workers, they exploit stakeholders, they exploit customers. But with laws, it becomes difficult for them to do because if they do, they will be penalized.
I mean, yeah.
Is it clear?
Where do you know it before? Like legislation?
Legislation, yes.
Yeah.
I think it's clear.
Yeah.
Consumer protection. When we're talking about consumer protection, we're talking about protecting the rights of consumers, ensuring that consumers are not cheated.
Are always right.
Yeah, customers are always right. But here it's about customers not being cheated. They protect them.
Yeah.
They give them quality goods, affordable prices. They are not exploited. That is what government should do.
So no scamming.
No scams, yes. No scam zone. Clear?
Yes.
We move on. So these are consumer issues covered by legislation. We talked about them. Yeah. We have the information given about products. So these are things government would ensure that consumers' benefits are not cheated or are not vulnerable about. The information given about products. Businesses must ensure that they give the right information about the product they are selling. Consumers must not have asymmetric information about the products.
False information.
Yes. Trading and age restrictions. Consumers must know that, oh, these products are for which age and that age. Customer payments method. Businesses must ensure that consumers are being able to pay at their own convenience.
Yeah.
Consumer rights are being protected. The way products are promoted, don't give false information. The quality of products, it must have quality. The products must be safe to use. It must not be a product that will cause harm to the customers.
So no, like explosion.
Demerit goods,
or
yes.
deadly, toxics or something.
Yes, you got that. Then we have competition policy. It is also part of government objective to ensure that there's fair competitiveness, there's fair competition within the industries. Government must allow other businesses to be able to set up in any industry.
So the government.
There must not be monopoly.
So the government wants more competition.
Yes.
So
Whatever will anti-competitiveness.
What is monopoly?
Monopoly is when you have only one supplier of goods in an industry.
Ah, yeah.
So government, whatever brings about anti-competitiveness, government wants to stop it. Government will not encourage it. Is it clear?
Just like Apple.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
So what are the ways in which governments do this? One, they encourage the growth of small firms. Government will support small firms to become bigger so that they can compete with large firms.
Yeah.
Lower barriers to entry. Whatever barriers whatever that will stop small businesses to enter into the market, government will take it away. Introduce anti-competitive legislation. Government will come up with laws that will stop large firms from stopping smaller firms to come into the industry. Is it clear?
What do you mean smaller firms? Smaller companies?
Yes. You know, it's difficult for small firms to compete with large firms.
Like why? Is it because of...
Like, we have different schools now, right?
Is it because it's unfair or something?
Yes, government will ensure that every business has equal opportunity as the larger ones or existing ones. Is it clear now?
Yeah.
Environmental legislation. These are laws that protect the environment.
Just like
government will,
the other example, the EU.
Yeah, government will stop pollution. Government will stop dumping. Do you get it? Do you know what dumping is? Dumping means selling imported products at a cheaper rate below the cost of producing it domestically. So if this bottled water is imported and is sold for $1 dinar, and a domestic one, the one that is produced in Libya is sold at $2, this is dumping. It is expected that an imported product should be expensive than the local made product.
So the local made product should be
more cheaper than imported products. But most of the time, why are these imported products cheaper? The government of such country would have subsidized for them. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So like Chinese products are cheaper, yes?
Yes.
But it's not that they are those cheap because the government of that country has made subsidized, making the cost of production to reduce for them. That's why they are able to sell at a lower rate.
Yeah.
And because they are able to sell, because their prices are cheap, so they attract foreign customers. Do you understand?
Understand.
We move on, please.
So basically, local main product should be cheaper than the imported ones.
Yeah, so if imported products are more cheaper than local made products, it is more dumping. It's called dumping. So we go to trade policy. For trade policy, despite the benefit of international trade, governments sometimes believe that it is in the nation's interest to restrict trade. This is called protectionism. For protectionism, what does protectionism mean? Protectionism means finding a way to protect the local or domestic firms against foreign intervention.
So the government want to protect the local companies.
Yes. So that is what
Local
protectionism is. Yeah, is it clear? So what are the reasons why government might do this? One, okay, this might be used to what? One, protect jobs if foreign competitors threaten the survival of domestic producers. So government wants to protect, because one of the government's objectives is to increase employment opportunity. So if foreign businesses start coming in and they become a threat to local businesses, local businesses might shut down. Then if local businesses shut down, workers will be made redundant, or workers will lose their jobs. So government doesn't want this to happen. As a result, government will protect those businesses to continue to be in existence. Is it clear?
Yes.
Protect infant industries. These are new established industries. They are just coming up. Infant, they are just coming up. They are new.
Like what they call it? Because it's new.
Yeah, they cannot compete with existing firms. So government wants to protect them so that they can grow too. Is it clear?
Yes.
Prevent dumping. I talked about it.
Yes.
Where foreign producers sell goods below cost in the domestic market. I explained that, right?
What is tariff? Tariff.
I'm not there yet. I'm here. Prevent, please.
Yeah, I already said prevent.
Is it clear, please?
Yeah.
Raise revenue from tariffs. Yeah. What is tariff? Tariffs are taxes on imported products. So for you to bring imported products into the country, for you to import goods into the country, you pay taxes. So these taxes are high. It makes the price of imported products to increase. So people will fall back to buy domestic products. Is it clear?
Yes.
So government can use trade barriers to restrict trades, like tariffs. Tariffs are taxes on imported products. Quotas, putting a physical quantity on goods that can be imported into the country. You give them limits that they can bring into the country. Subsidy, by financially helping infant industries or domestic businesses with money so that they can compete with multinationals. Administrative barriers, they come up with strict health and safety environment regulations that will stop importation. So when foreign businesses come, they won't be able to stay because government is restricting them with administrative restrictions. So they find paperwork and a lot of things get them discouraged. So they won't be able to stay and compete with the local firms. Is it clear? Government can also influence businesses by forming a trade bloc. This is where a group of countries in the same geographical region sign a trade agreement to reduce or remove trade barriers. When I talk about trade bloc, it means people within the same geographical location, they are able to sell, they are able to transact with each other. They stop others that are not there, like the Arab world, like the Arab countries, like Egypt, Tunisia, Libya, Algeria, being able to trade and not allowing West African countries to trade with them. They can do this too. Is it clear? Is it clear, please?
So they want trading.
We call it trade bloc.
In specific countries.
Yes. So they deal with each other. So what are the opportunities of doing this one? The opportunity to specialize in the production of those goods and services, which they can produce more expertly or at a lower cost. With trading bloc, it means that they will only produce things that they can produce better. And that will become cheaper for them because they will be more efficient.
Yes.
So access to wider markets. Because there's a trading bloc, it means you can sell, Libyans can sell to Algeria, can sell to Morocco, can sell to Egypt, can sell to Tunisia.
Yeah.
Is it clear? Lower cost, if economies of scale can be exploited when sales and output rises. Now that you know you can sell to all these countries, you will be able to expand your scale of operation or scale of production. Yes or no? And being able to expand your scale of operation, it means that you can exploit economies of scale, reduce average cost of production. Is it clear? Is it clear, please?
It's very clear.
Protection from large predatory multinationals from outside the bloc. So they will stop those multinationals that wants to become predators, that wants to take local domestic products or domestic businesses out of the market. They would stop them. They won't allow them to come in. Is it clear? Is it clear, please?
Clear.
Effects of interest rates on businesses. I told you what interest rate is. Interest rate is the price of saving, is the price of saving, of borrowing and the benefit of saving. The cost of borrowing and the benefit of saving. Let's put it that way. That is what interest rate is. Is it clear? So interest rate is the cost of borrowing money and the reward to savers. Interest rates are usually controlled by the authorities and can therefore change. The use of interest rate to help control the economy is called monetary policy. So it's different from fiscal policy. Fiscal policy is the use of taxation and subsidy to correct the economy or to manipulate or influence the economy. But for monetary policy is the use of interest rate, money supply, exchange rate to control the economy. Do you get it here? We call it monetary policy. The use of interest rate, money supply, to correct or to control, to influence the economy. That is in monetary policy. Is it clear? Is it clear, please?
Yes.
So when the interest rate rises, costs will increase for any business that has already taken out loan. So here I'm gonna summarize it. An increase in interest rates makes borrowing to be more expensive. So businesses that have borrowed a lot of loans, that have taken loans from banks, will have to pay high interest rates, and that increases their cost of production, and that might bring about an increase in prices. Clear? The purchase of capital goods funded by borrowing is discouraged because it is more expensive. So those businesses that wants to buy equipment, that wants to buy machinery with borrowed money will not be able to borrow because the cost of borrowing is high. So investment would fall.
Yes.
Is it clear? Is it clear, please?
Very clear.
High interest rates usually mean that demand in the economy will fall. A high interest rate means people cannot borrow money. As a result, spending would fall in the economy. Is it clear?
Like, why?
When interest rate is high, people will not be able to borrow money to buy things. So they will cut their spending. People will save more than buy to enjoy the interest rate. Is it clear?
Yeah, clear.
Okay, we'll move on, please.
So we will have less customers.
Yes. Effects of interest rate on consumer spending. Changes in the interest rate can have a significant effect on consumer behavior. Generally, high interest rates are bad for consumers, but not all of them. House owners with mortgage will be affected negatively. Those that borrow money.
Like, what do you mean?
Mortgage.
Yeah, I know. What is mortgage?
When you loans on building. So it has, when you borrow, it becomes expensive for you to borrow, to buy buildings. You will not be happy. Do you get it?
Yes.
Demand for goods bought with borrowed money will fall. People will not be able to borrow money to buy goods. So as a result, the demand for goods that are produced with borrowed money would fall. Savers will be hit if interest rates are low. If the interest rate is low, people will not want to save. They will rather borrow. Do you get it?
They wanna, consume.
They will buy more.
Yes.
Is it clear? Is it clear, please?
Understandable.
Okay, we'll move on.
Less interest rate, the cheaper the interest rate, the customers want to buy it.
Yes. So when the
more
interest rate is
customers want to
high, spending would fall.
Yeah.
Savings will increase. Saving will increase. But when the interest rate falls, saving will fall. Borrowing will increase.
Yes.
Demand will increase.
Yes.
Is it clear? So go to the multiple choice question, please. Yeah. Are you there?
So,
question 1. Which of the following is a trade barrier?
oh, tariff.
A trade barrier, yes, tariffs, thank you.
Tariff, yeah, they will increase taxes.
Importation, taxes on importation.
Yeah, taxes importation. So
Number
more
one,
increasing the product.
Yes, number 1, D.
The price of the product.
Question 2.
Which of the effects are likely to result from lower interest rate?
If interest rate is low, what happens?
Consumer spending may rise.
Thank you. Question 2, C. Question 3.
Which of these measures might help a company manufacturing
Power boats.
What of these measures might help a company manufacturing power boats?
Power boats, you know boats, right?
Yeah.
So a company that manufactures it, that builds it. So that's the point there. A company that manufactures,
Might help.
yeah.
So, is it higher VAT?
No, it's A, low level of corporation tax, because when your taxes are low,
Oh, yeah.
it increases your profit. Then you
Yeah.
get encouraged to produce more.
Of course.
It's A.
Yeah.
Question 4.
Okay, question 4. Which of the following is likely to rise when taxation is decreased?
When taxes fall, when government reduces taxes, what is likely to increase?
Business investment.
Business investment. People will be able to
Because
invest more
yeah, people
because
will invest
profit
more.
is increasing.
Yeah, of course.
Is it clear?
I mean, obviously, the tax will decrease. People will, of course, the business will more invest more.
More. Is it clear?
Yes.
So that ends chapter 12 and we end today's lesson.